States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of prayer. Thank you.
Mayor Tutai.
Here.
Council President Fire.
Here.
Alderman Wadwa.
Here.
Alderwoman Calderon.
Here.
Alderman Brickner.
Here.
Alderman Damon.
Here.
And I'm presuming Alderwoman Fliss is excused.
Telephonic meeting, none.
And the meeting has been properly posted and noticed.
Public hearing, none. Presentation. Jim Jank from the Concord Group, update on Hidden Ponds development.
Good evening, Jim.
Good evening.
My name is Jim Jank with the Concord Group. We're overseeing the project out on the Hidden Ponds, and I was asked to come here and get a quick update on where the status of the project is. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna kind of rattle through each one of the buildings, but anybody who's knowledgeable enough about the site, and that goes from the northeast building, 14, goes to the west, wraps across the street, and then heads from the southwest to the southeast on the site plan as you would be looking at it from above. So building 14 is the first one, and then on the flip side, building 17 area is the last one on the very far south side, on the south side of the road that separates the two. So, building 14. Exterior soffit fascia installation, wrapping up. Product identified. Exterior trim continues. Drip edge being set. Siding arrived on site. The upper siding was hot. By the installer as being wrong, therefore, we verified that as well while we were out there. They sent it back. And again, this is kind of a 2-week summary, just to give you a quick update on this over leading up to mid-November, because hardly anything has really happened since the holidays occurred. Siding started near the front of the building, plumbing and ductwork appear complete. West unit, plumbing complete. On the east unit, ductwork appears very close. Electric rough-in has already been started. On the east unit, it is already finished on the west. So again, that's the very northeast building. Wrapping to the next one to its west, building 15. First floor walls completed, braced. Second floor joists have been set. Deck floor has been established. Second floor walls set and braced. Garage trusses being set and then decked. Building 16 is a little bit further along. Furnace has already been fired up. Their mechanicals are running. They're using that as a method to do the drywall and mud up the drywall. But then, because we asked them to, we worked out a situation where they weren't typical of, but they shut down the furnaces, covered them, because you gotta go through the sanding process. And one of the worst things that can happen is the sand or dust from the sanding operation gets into the furnaces and it can wreck the life expectancy of the mechanicals. But they work with us on that kind of effortlessly. First and second coat of mud were applied, sanded in both units. Again, we shut them, had their furnaces shut down while it was being done. Building 22, across the street, furthest to the west. Roofing started, continues east, south, and west faces. Materials used, verified. Exterior soffits, sheeting, upper walls were complete. Windows were installed. and shower units were delivered, and they'll be installing those shortly. Building 20, next one over. Planning part, walls are beginning to come up. And that's about it. They're just starting the enclosure photos. Building 1918, foundations have been poured in advance of the weather conditions. They're basically going to be shutting down now all masonry work, unless miraculously if we get a warm stretch in here, you know, for what appears to be an extended period of time. They obviously, number one, we were pretty adamant about this, and the building inspector was pretty adamant that you've got to be cautious about winter conditions. And the second thing is that obviously I don't believe they want to pay for winter condition construction. So they're going to just not do any more masonry until the spring. So those likely aren't going to be done much except for the building enclosures to be brought up and enclosed, if and when that happens chronologically as this continues. Lot 17 or building 17, all they did is prep the site, and they made a decision they're not going to do anything at this point out there. So they're not going to start excavation, installation, foundations. So I know I kind of rattled through this, but it does give you kind of a feel that things have continued. My synopsis of this is we just went through a period where we had a very difficult situation where the construction manager that was on site and in charge of everything, I wouldn't exactly state that he was qualified isn't the right word, but let's just say he wasn't he didn't seem as though as he was as experienced as a position like this needed. There's a lot of different operations that are going on, one building to the next, and the facilitating of the whole project management issues of that, I think were sorely lacking at times. Similarly, the things that we were asking for, we were having difficulty getting information from him in a timely manner. Again, our role on this project is general oversight, construction, and to make sure that it gets built according to industry standards, as well as we establish a baseline of finishes that get put into the project. And that baseline then is used for the rest of the project. And so we confirm and verify that what was said was going to get put in at the beginning of the project is actually put in, and no substitutions occur. Now, if the substitutions do arise and they make whatever determination, our role on this is to make sure that whatever gets installed is better and or equal value than what it getting originally approved through the finish stage. And that's with our own experience. I have an individual out on the site almost daily. I mean, if he misses a day, it's rare. But he does go out there and observes the status of the project and verifies that the finishes and the construction operations are continuing as what had been closed. We had an issue with this guy, and I don't want to keep on pointing a finger at him, but he was like by the developer.
So if you don't have a GC on site, is that you actively doing that now? Because if you don't have a general contractor, then how are they running this? He's not a general contractor. Understood, but as an owner, that doesn't mean he's more qualified than a general contractor who was previously in the job. So who's going to make sure we actually have somebody who knows everything he needs to know there? Just because he owns a company doesn't mean he's qualified.
Let me interrupt, because we are, borderline, saintly and Gary.
Well, I'm not
Let me finish on that project. As you are well aware, I am a property owner who lives on the lot line for that development. You say Gary is a nice guy, Gary talks to you, Gary does this, Gary does that. Gary is a nice guy. Gary will tell you whatever you want to hear. Gary has lied to me numerous times. I know when Gary's lying to me, because his lips are moving. I do not trust that man. I do not trust that guy to cross the street. So what I'm saying is, I don't care who the general contractor is, as long as it gets done according to the specifications that we put forth. And I'm telling you, this guy has been screwing that development for 18 years. He don't care about the city. He doesn't care about the development. All Gary cares about is how much money he's putting in his pocket. It is your job to make sure that what Gary does, Gary does. Because I don't trust Gary as far as I can throw him. And that's where I'm at.
And I understand that. And I don't have the, 20 years of experience of working with that individual. I have a 1-month period of talking to him. And everything that he has said out of his mouth, he's done. He's agreed to operations that are standard industry procedures. And he appears as though he's making adequate decisions in managing the rest of the project and getting it organized. And we went through 6 months of very unusual activity out there. And I think it was part of the reason was there was a lack of experience by the previous project manager.
Well,
I believe that that was set up that way on purpose, because Gary, during this entire process, has never once, since the original development, not once, has he stepped into this building to stand where you're standing and answer a few questions. Never.
So let me just follow up one last thing and I'll leave it alone. But the reason I have concern, so I just walked through there a week ago. There's power lines running from the aerator power supply to 2 of the buildings. The construction isn't supposed to be powered and paid for by the homeowners association, but he's drawing power off that pond that's supposed to be aerating the pond. That doesn't sound like something that's on the up and up.
I have pictures.
I understand what you're saying, and maybe that is a little unusual, but that's kind of not in my role of monitoring. My role, just to kind of remind everybody again, is I'm looking at the construction, finishes in particular, and making sure that they get constructed and they are what they said they were gonna put in. That's my number 1 goal. The second thing that I do is I watch my specialist, who is a building inspector of the past 20 years at the city of Milwaukee, very experienced. I mean, he did Northwestern Mutual, he did Potawatomi, he knows everything across the board. He's the watchdog that helps Gary Beershire.
So in your answer, though, my first question was, are you essentially acting as a general contractor? And as a matter of fact, you actually are. You're making sure everything's still being done properly. You've got a much closer eye on it, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
We're gonna take it from here on out. Again, I don't wanna say blinders are on, but we're very focused on.
Like I said, I don't really care who does it, I don't care if Gary does it, I don't, if I speak to Gary one more day before I die, it's one day too soon. I do not have to speak to Gary, don't care. As long as it's getting done the way it was supposed to be done, and the reason for me giving you my dissertation is so that I understand the blinders are on, but every once in a while, the blinders need to come off.
Right, and let me say this, the past individual was nameless, who got let go, he's being replaced. Obviously, Gary isn't gonna be out there day in, day out, he's taken over the job because he fired the individual. And he's running and getting the, let's say, ship in order. And, but the individual that's coming on board in mid-January is gonna be a brand new person, and we're going to treat it no differently. Everything that we do has got a process or step. It's been communicated, and quite frankly, it's been understood a lot better than it was 6 months prior. So the process, I think, is, I'm not saying it's gonna go perfectly, but we're gonna monitor it. We will monitor it accordingly. And I appreciate the background.
You're aware, I believe, that there is a December 1, 2025 construction completion date. Are they poised to meet that, or is this the problems that you've alluded to going to prevent that?
In my destination, they're about 2 months behind, and most of that was because of the operations that were being done the first 6 months. And some of the delays were non-coordination of materials being brought to the site, and things were just not being handled properly, from my opinion. So in my opinion, right now, they're 2 months behind, and with the holidays, they certainly didn't pick up anything in this meantime. Now, can they? Absolutely. They can, I've witnessed this for 30 years.
Well, I can say that there's been people, that not during the holidays, they're quiet over the holidays, but, they've been there 6 and 7 days a week.
Yeah.
How many total units are under construction currently?
3 in the north side of the room. Well, the 3 buildings. So
So these 6.
those are 4 units. 2 units.
Yeah, they're supposed to be doing the 2 units first.
Those are 6. And then, they're trying, they have 22, 21, and 20. The first 3 to the south side of the road, to the west, going from west to east direction, 22, 21, and 20. Those are all in operation of trying to get enclosed. Fully roughed in.
So 12 total.
So then 12 total on those 3.
Okay. So 12 out of 18.
Right. And then 19 and 18, those just have footings that have been installed.
Okay.
Have they ever shared an overall project plan or timeline with you? I didn't have it for that. Sure. So based on that, would, you know, I think the masonry that you mentioned, they're pausing their operations for the year. Was that in plan? Because I can't imagine that going into a winter season without the masonry done. You know, now they can't catch up on that over the rest of the winter. You know, will that continue to put them further and further behind?
For the last 3 buildings for the rest of the foundation system, walls and the exterior. And then building 17 is going to be kind of a standalone to start up next spring. But based on the size of this, in my opinion, I don't look at this as something that couldn't be caught up. But I'll be honest, across the board, in my opinion, you're 2 months behind from what was being slated.
Any further questions?
Of the electrical use, is that something that if people complain about it, they would, contact the condominium association?
That would be a logical approach, but I think isn't he like,
Yeah,
the full basis of the
Yes.
well, I think he has a majority, he's a majority interest. And I think that's part of the issue is that they're seeing this community electricity being used to construct the buildings, and he has 67% decision-making authority, so he says, this is what we're gonna do.
My guess would be the alternative would be generators running all day. Living in a neighborhood that had houses built in it. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Because I like single-family house construction. You usually hear the generator running all day, and so maybe that's the, you know, that might be the balance point that they're working out.
Anybody else? Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Mark has my contact information, so if anybody feels like they need to get a hold of me, Mark can supply that. Very easy.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Moving on, citizen comments, none. Consent agenda, is there any older person that would like anything removed?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Recommendation of action. Action to be taken from the licensing committee meeting held January 3rd, 2024. Don?
We're looking for a new beverage operator license for Nicholas Last.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Next, we got temporary Class B retailer's license for Cavalier Athletic Association. Dan Chef's organizer for Sheep's Head Tournament event to be held 1/20/24 at 2601 East Morgan Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
And lastly, for the Cavalier Athletic Association, Dan Chef's organizer for the Trivia Night event to be held February 3rd, 2024 at 2601 East Morgan Avenue.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
That's all from licensing, Mayor.
Thank you, Don. Action to be taken from finance, January 3rd, 2024. Steve?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation from the Finance Committee to approve the resolution for inclusion under the State of Wisconsin Deferred Compensation Program.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
And that is all from the finance, sir.
Thank you. Action to be taken from bargaining? None. Action to be taken from Board of Public Works? None. Action to be taken from the Planning Commission? None. Resolution and ordinances? None. Discussion, items with possible action?
None.
Unfortunately, MSA scope of service stormwater plan for KK River watershed. The floor is yours, Bill.
All right, included is a proposal from MSA. This is related to area down by 1602 East Layton Avenue. That area is part of the South Kinnickinnick watershed. That area is one of the two watersheds in the city of St. Francis, and that area has very high standards for stormwater improvement, stormwater quality. Because there's going to be a potential development in that area, Mark requested a proposal for the design of a regional detention facility. That facility would account for the proposed development, but it also has to take into account the increased standards for TMDL, total maximum daily loads, as well as total phosphorus in the area, as well as the proximity to the airport, so you can't simply have a standard retention or detention pond just because of interference with birds, things like that. So at this point, what we did is put a proposal together the timeline will be based on the demand from the city as far as proceeding, as that particular property has not yet been acquired by the city. But essentially what we'd be doing is designing a facility. A portion of it would be underground in order to address the regional stormwater requirements, as well as making an attempt to increase the stormwater standards, stormwater quality standards that were outlined in a 2019 report that was accepted by WDNR for St. Francis. So that's kind of a synopsis of what the proposal is. I don't know if you want to add anything else, Mark, regarding the need for it at this point.
He owns all the properties except the Airport Motors property, and so the stormwater plan may affect the Airport Motors property for stormwater management. But this scope of service would allow MSA then to work on a stormwater plan for that corner property, for that corner of Brusque and Layton Avenue.
And due to the cost, we'd also be looking at potential funding opportunities as well.
And this is in TID 4 as well as the stormwater utility, so the funds are available within the stormwater utility for both the project plan and for implementation using either TID or stormwater utility. Won't affect the general fund.
I'll move to approve the statement of work as listed on the attachment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Bill. Celebrations Food Truck Event from 2022, payment to the Milwaukee Rotary Club. Mark?
This was a request that came in from Peter May from the Airport Rotary Club. Supposedly there was a food truck event that happened in the fall of 2022. The chair at the time of the celebrations committee had agreed to divide the revenue from the food truck event in October of 2022 with the Airport Rotary Club. And so that was brought to our attention by Peter May, who currently serves on the Celebrations Committee, and he's a member of the Airport Rotary Club. And so his request is that 50% of the funds would...
They're asking for the full amount.
Oh, the full amount of the funds that were revenue that was generated from the food truck event in October of 2022 to be paid to the airport
It's
Rotary
like
Club.
$1,800, $1,872. It's the amount listed on the submission that was in the packet, $1,872.67.
I might add that the celebrations committee did not take action on this contribution, so it was never something that was a motion and a second and a passage by the celebrations committee to that effect.
So are they planning on discussing this at all, or is that?
Again, I think we were taken aback. We were taken aback that maybe there was a side agreement with Airport Rotary on the food truck event, and I think, in talking with Paul, the way the ordinance was written, I think there's some question whether a food truck event was even part of the duties and responsibilities of the celebrations committee at the time. So I think there is some question, under the circumstances of how this came about and who made the decisions on it. And certainly there wasn't a decision made by the celebrations committee nor the common council, and I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah,
Is there anything in writing that anybody signed anything? Said that that committee wasn't involved, but the chair of that committee, did she sign anything that would say that the city is liable for that amount?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it was verbal.
Yeah,
There was a verbal
we have
agreement.
nothing in our files.
I mean, at the end of the day, did somebody acting in the city's capacity say that they were going to be, splitting revenues? And, I'd love to get something in writing. I'd love to, know who the, hear from maybe parties involved. But at the end of the day, if we said something, we should stand by our word and do it.
Do we know what happened from the revenue from that? Do we know where it's at?
It's in our, we received it back in 2022. I mean, the city has the money.
Okay.
The other thing is, if we ever intend to have another food truck event, I don't think you want to not honor this prior commitment, or you will not have another food truck event in the city. Word travels very fast in a very small community.
Absolutely.
No, that was money they paid in to be part of the event.
Did they provide an explanation as to why they want all of the money instead of half of the money?
So, supposedly the verbal agreement between the chair and Peter May with the Airport Rotary Club was that the Airport Rotary Club would get the fall food truck event proceeds, and the city celebration committee would get the entire proceeds from the spring food truck event that they were planning on having. And so that was, I guess, the agreement that was made.
Was there a spring event?
Mm-hmm.
It was?
Yes.
Did we get the money from that?
Mm-hmm.
Then
How bad of a taste it leaves in my mouth, I think they should be paid.
I agree.
I tend to agree. I mean, I don't think that this just came up out of the blue from persons unknown. If we said something, certainly I think we need to make sure we talk with the chair and ensure that we are not entering into agreements outside of our scope and anything else. But if we said something and we were acting in the city's capacity, like full faith and guarantee and all of that.
So this last fall, when they were working on setting up another food truck event, Peter May, at the time, the Airport Rotary sponsored that food truck event in its entirety because we made changes, or the council made changes, city made changes to the celebrations committee and the duties and responsibilities thereof. So moving forward, if there's going to be food truck events, it's going to be done by the Airport Rotary. And so they did the last fall's Airport Rotary. The Airport Rotary event was their food truck event. It wasn't the celebration. So they paid the park rental. It was like a private event. It wasn't part of the city's event. And so I think when he came in to discuss having this food truck event last fall, that's when he mentioned it to us that, oh, by the way, back in 2022, we were supposed to get the proceeds from the fall event. The city was supposed to get the proceeds from the spring food truck event, and he requested the funds, and so we put it on the agenda for tonight.
Rick, did you have anything to say?
Tendency of blaming a person who leaves that can't defend themselves. She still lives in the community. Why don't we just ask her? I don't think Kim would lie and say, oh yeah, or maybe there's an answer, and she might say, yeah, I did. But at least you'll know what happened.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to pay the gentleman what the city owes him.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Appointments to committees, none. Correspondence with possible action, none. Unfinished business, none. Other business, none. Department heads, Bill?
So you guys have the monthly update in front of you. I'll just try to run through this in less than 2 minutes. Essentially, the Whistler mileage certifications were completed in 2023. Those were submitted to DOT. I am just putting a summary report together, and I should have that for the second meeting in January. The illicit discharge inspections were completed in 2023. The report has not been filed yet. We're still working on that, but the only requirement is associated with the actual inspections being completed in 2023. No illicit discharges were discovered during those visits. The previous bike ped study that was approved last year, we're nearing the completion of that, so I expect to have a draft of that probably within the next week or so that we can get that in front of Mark and then eventually in front of the council as well. Currently still working on the urban forestry grant. We hope to set up the online GIS soon. So some of these other items that we're working on in GIS can start being visible to city staff and council as well. We're still working on the new work plan for the PPII plan, and expect that will be done towards the end of January as well. And then just early in December, we started working on the GIS digitizing for the storm and sanitary piping. I don't have an update as far as when that'll be completed yet, but certainly a priority at this point. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you. Chief Poplar?
Not much, just getting back from the holiday weeks. If you didn't see, our crew, St. Francis Fire Department, participated with the Children's Hospital event Christmas morning, along with Milwaukee and Wauwatosa. So it darn well made national headlines. It's something that's been going on for years. We were asked to join because Wauwatosa's platform ladder was involved in a motor vehicle accident several weeks prior to that. But it made national news, and obviously local. It hit a lot of heartstrings locally, and we were told that some of the children were seeing that event for the third consecutive year. So that's kind of sad, but they always look forward to it. No huge disastrous fires or emergencies over the holidays. And then in 2 weeks from today, I have 12 candidates for firefighter paramedic coming through for our local panel interview. as far as the hiring process to establish our list. And with that, I pass.
Chief Hunter? Go.
Thank you, Mayor. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all. We had no major incidents over the holidays. Either our retail initiative of the Director of Patrol Mission at all of our major retail outlets went smooth. We only had one repeat offender who's now in jail and is looking that he's going to be going to prison. He's an habitual offender for retail theft. He's walking down Whitnell Avenue with approximately $300 worth of booze in his bag. The vehicle entries, I think I sent you guys all an email about all the vehicle entries on Lake Drive in this area. We worked with South Milwaukee and the city of Cudahy on tracking these individuals. We knew who they were, facial recognition, etc. A lot of time, effort went into it. Very proud of the coalition that we came up with. We identified the individuals. We arrested the 4 suspects that were involved in our city, the theft of the gun that was taken out of our city, along with other materials. Again, all these vehicles were left unlocked. Just a reminder to all of our residents to please lock your vehicles. Do not leave your keys in them. Do not leave valuables in them. That said, South Milwaukee had 2 guns taken out of vehicles in their city. We conducted a search warrant on the ringleader, which was not one of the 4 that was arrested, but out of those 4, one of them gave up some information. We conducted a search warrant on that residence, and we recovered all the weapons along with additional firearms inside that residence and some further evidence of criminal activity. So those individuals are all in jail as we speak, so that's a very good thing for the city, and we've had no break-ins since, which is a good thing. I think I also sent it out to you. We did not place first in National NL this year, unfortunately. We got 3rd, but in the nation, the lowest I think we've had in the last 10 to 15 years is 3rd, and we can't hang our heads low because of that. That's still a huge achievement, and it just says something about the city as a whole, the fire department, the police department, DPW, all of you guys getting together to make it a tremendous event for the city, and it continues to be that. And our goal is always to strive for the first place, but I think there's a little politics, and they can't always do it to one city, even though I think we're the best anyway. But that's just my personal opinion. And we do have a prospective hire. I spoke to the PFC. We're conducting a background investigation. He already went through the first process. He is already an officer, has been for 2 years. I won't say where because there's another jurisdiction that is trying to recruit him heavily. He wrote them a letter that he is no longer interested in their process, which is a good thing for us. So within the next, I'll know on December 8th after I have a meeting or interview with him along with the PFC if we're going to move forward with that individual. Pardon me? January 8th. I'm sorry.
Be a long time. Yeah, it'll be a long time.
Yes, no. Yeah, it's a long process. Yeah, sorry. No, hopefully we'll have him on the road if everything goes well, and I don't see any hiccups right now, so we'll have him on the road. And it'll be the first time we're whole in over a year, so that'll be great. So we'll have him on the road by summer, which is a great thing, and he brings a lot to the table. So with that, I pass, and I hope for a great 2024.
Thank you, Chief. Ann?
We are finished with our first big push for tax collection. We've collected about 50% of the outstanding taxes as of December 31st. The last quarter of 2023 sewer bills will be in the mail probably tomorrow, early Friday. And we, as many of you know, every community in Milwaukee County is working on the same tax processing program so that they'll speak to each other. If people have questions about delinquent taxes or any taxes, it will show up on the Milwaukee County portal through the treasurer's office. And in theory, it's great. In practicality, the system crashes at least 5 or 6 times a day because they were not prepared for having 19 communities processing tax payments. I've heard from several other communities that representatives will be at the next ICC meeting, and will hopefully give the elected officials a very good reason as to why we're having these issues. And I will be out of the office from this Friday, returning on January 15th.
This year?
Yeah, this year. Yeah, because next year I might not be returning. Oh, and the other nomination papers were due at 5 p.m. on January 2nd. The only people that turned in nomination papers were the sitting incumbents.
Thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
Paul?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two items real quickly. As I believe everyone is aware, the City of Oak Creek Common Council did approve both the extension of the current dispatch agreement until the end of 2024 and the new agreement starting in 2025. So the only thing left is to have the mayor and Ann sign off on the documents and return them, and we should be set. Different note, we did file an action in the Circuit Court for Milwaukee County against Derek Dyson, the now defunct BRI1 LLC, and Servd Distribution, seeking monetary forfeitures for their violation of the zoning code by the occupancy of Servd, failure to obtain occupancy permits, and there's also a claim of a nuisance in there due to the what we believe was an intentional violation of the city code. They are still in the time period for filing an answer, and I will keep you posted. And with that, pass.
Thank you. Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. DPW is currently about halfway through the number of trees that they have to cut for this year. They had estimated that they were going to remove 80 trees from the city. They've removed about 40 to date, so they're continuing to work on that in the good winter weather that we have. We also have DPW collecting Christmas trees until February 2nd. All people have to do is place their tree on the boulevard or the terrace between the sidewalk and behind the curb, where they would normally place their garbage cans if they're having the garbage cans placed in front. Do not place Christmas trees back off an alleyway. We will not pick them up off of an alley. They have to be placed on the terrace. And we will do that until February 2nd. We're currently working with the city auditor to work on the capital budget for our street projects. It's likely that if our street projects are going to move forward, there's going to have to be some borrowing, and it's going to have to occur to be able to do those street projects. So we're working on that, and that will come before the Finance Committee and the Common Council in the future. That's all I have.
Thank you. Matt?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just want to wish everybody Happy New Year. We're off to a good start already, I think. One thing that came to mind after we took action on the Rotary Club food truck event is maybe we could have city staff write a letter to kind of a lot of the public-facing committee chairs, just reminding everyone of the rules, especially when it comes to monetary agreements, and that the council needs to enter into those agreements and that sort of thing. I would hate for something like this to happen again. I think we did the right thing here tonight, but just want to make sure that we are, doing our due diligence and making sure that our committee chairs kind of know the rules. Sorry, if that needs to be an action, maybe we can do it at the next meeting, but just a recommendation from me that's something that we can do. With that, I have nothing else, so Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you, Matt.
If I may, just a quick response. We did last year revise the Code of Ordinances with regard to the Celebrations Committee so that the fundraisers that they enter into can only be done so upon authorization of the Common Council in the first instance, and then there is a restriction on how the money, the proceeds from such enterprises can be used. And it's only towards
Be a perfect time to remind everyone of that then. Mm-hmm.
So good, but it's still other committees. It still is, wouldn't be a bad idea to remind them what their scope of authority is.
Thank you, Paul. Steve?
Nothing this evening, sir.
Thank you, Don?
I'm going to pass on the opportunity to beat that dead horse of hidden ponds.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Sarah?
And with that, I pass.
I have nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Sean?
Happy holidays. I'm going to switch gears. All the department heads know I have a lot of respect for you. I want to touch base on Rick's address to us this evening. I want to remind everybody, when we transitioned to the leadership group we have here, we had a very messy separation from the prior group. We didn't have a Christmas parade. That celebrations committee came together, gave us a wonderful event for several years, and with very little guidance, all volunteer. It feels like we're going through a messy breakup right now, and I want to switch gears on this, and I want to commend them for everything they did for all those years. Look at it in a positive light, and just move forward in a positive manner, because they did give us celebrations for several years, and that's a lot of work. That's a lot of volunteer. And this messy separation we've been going through, it's throwing some dark shadow on that, and I don't think that's fair to anybody. There's a lot of people in this room that volunteered with that committee. One of them's in the room right now in the back. I just think we need to be more positive on this, and if we could just move forward from it, and maybe we recognize the people that did that for all those years. I don't think we should be kicking them when they're down. I'm glad we moved on that item tonight. I think it's the right thing to do. But I'd like to move forward in a positive manner and recognize them for the tremendous effort they did give. And with that, I'll pass.
Thank you, Sean. I'd like to wish everyone a Happy New Year. And I'd like to end with the former chair of the committee that Sean was just talking about. I'd like to personally say thank you for your 5 years of dedication and time that took you away from your family, and you did a very good job, and thank you. And with that, can I get a
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. We are adjourned.